As you probably as you probably know, we support a whole number of different projects around the world. The last count, it was probably just in the low 60s in terms of projects in different places. And we try to bring a selection of them so that we can hear what God is doing in different parts of the world. But obviously, the time difference varies across the world. And so often we've kind of focused on things in Europe or things in Africa where the time difference is not too bad. But obviously, once you move over to Asia, it's hugely different. And so we're doing something slightly different this time. We wanted to share with you a little bit about the work of that we support in Thailand through RICD and Stronger Together. But at the moment, it's 1:30 in the morning, or just gone 1:30 in the morning. So it's not really practical to have someone up in the middle of the night to come and share. So we've asked them to do a recording for us. So we've got a selection of videos to share that have been done, with a couple of them specifically sharing a little bit about what they do, to give a little bit of background that's been kind of recorded specifically for us. And so we're going to share those as we go through, and hopefully it will inspire you to see the way that God is using them to reach out to that community where obviously in many ways idols are very prominent, and see what God is doing. So Hannah's going to play the first one, which is an introduction by the person who kind of runs the project, called Joey. He'll introduce himself at the beginning of the video. So let's just have a listen to that.
Hello from Chiang Mai, Thailand. My name is Joey Tell, and I am really excited to talk to you guys today about the Wheelchair Project and Stronger Together. A little bit about myself. I have been living in Thailand for most of my life. I moved here with my family when I was 8 years old. My parents were missionaries coming to do church planting, but soon after we arrived, we became involved with the Wheelchair Project, a disability ministry. Thailand doesn't have the same social welfare programs for people with disabilities to gain or have access to the equipment that they need. Right now, I think the latest estimate is that there's 500,000 individuals in Thailand who have a disability but do not have the equipment that they require. So when my father helped found the Wheelchair Project 22 years ago, this filled a huge need, and it opened doors that, looking back now, are amazing to watch happen. The Wheelchair Project has become a royal project, which means that it has been given the patronage of the royal family of Thailand. Equipment that we bring in is duty-free, tax-free, and exempt from any kind of import fares. This has allowed us to import now more than $10 million worth of equipment, more than 100 shipments of wheelchairs and other mobility aids. Each wheelchair and device is specifically fit to the individual, and we have a team working together that has become very proficient in adapting equipment for new users and use cases. It's awesome to see. But what is, I think, far more interesting is the way that this has been used to spread the gospel. Thailand has been open for evangelism and Christianity more than 150 years, and yet it still is less than 1% Christian. There's a lot of reasons for that, but one of the predominant reasons would be that Christianity is seen as a foreign religion. It's not Thai. Buddhism and Thai culture are so closely intertwined that the idea of converting to another religion would be seen tantamount to turning your back on your own culture. So, by having the credibility of a royal project and by working with local municipalities, local medical staff, and the local church, we're able to provide a platform for these families to be introduced to the hope that is Christ Jesus in a way that has never been done before. Buddhism teaches that disability or hardship that you face is a result of bad karma. Essentially, it is you are culpable for the situation you find yourself in. Christianity teaches the opposite, where Buddhism says you're responsible for your disability Christianity says, no, God created you on purpose. He didn't make a mistake, and he has a plan for you. Disability is a part of who you are, but it is not what defines you, and it's certainly not what's going to limit you. Having testimonies like Johnny Erickson Tada's book, which we give away to every patient, along with a Bible and introductory book to John, has proved to be the most effective evangelism tool that I've ever seen. And yet, it didn't go far enough. And that's where Stronger Together was born. Stronger Together aims to pick up where the Wheelchair Project leaves off. We have started to put together a catalog of sorts of different ways that churches can take up the mantle of disability ministry. We've seen how effective it's been in Chiang Mai. My wife and I have been doing this for more than a decade. And in that time, we've helped develop quite a few different disability ministries. We've helped establish camps for families affected by disabilities. We've helped establish vocational training programs, food provision programs, church outreach programs, and more. So we have a back catalog, so to speak, of different proven outreach strategies. And now what we are doing is we're taking all of this groundwork that we've put in, and we're helping churches build on top of that. We've developed an extensive network, 22 years of wheelchair provision, more than 100 containers of equipment, $10 million worth of wheelchairs being given away, has built an extensive network of not only church partners, but also hospital partners and municipal partners and disability associations, all of whom want to work together so that we can help support those in our community. The church is called to love the least of us. We're called to pick up those who are despondent, to go out into the alleyways and invite the lame and the crippled, like in Luke 13. We are thrilled to see how much energy, how much enthusiasm there is for this ministry. And it is just exciting to be a part of it. I can't wait to see what comes next. And I am thrilled that Cornerstone is interested in partnering with us. I was humbled to welcome you guys and show you around what God is doing. And however big you think it is, it's bigger. It's bigger than me, it's bigger than our church partners, and I think that's the part that really invigorates myself. Being able to look around and say that it is not reliant on me, that this is going to extend long after I am gone, it's just exciting. It feels bigger than life, and I am so honored that you guys are wanting to join us in this exciting new chapter. We've seen amazing things happen. We've seen people baptize and accept Christ at family camps. We've seen people groups who had never received Christ become Christian. We've seen churches catch on fire because of this kind of a not only impactful ministry, but just one that is so awesome to witness. I can't wait to see what God is going to do in Thailand over the next few years. And I am thrilled to have you guys along for the ride. Thank you very much for your time and your consideration.
That just gives a kind of a flavor of the ministry that they're involved with in Thailand. There's two kind of organizations, RICD, which is the kind of the wheelchair one, which is the one that has royal consent. That is purely around about providing mobility aids. But they want to reach out with the gospel, and so that's where Stronger Together fits in. Joey, who was sharing there, he kind of heads up both of those organizations, which means that there is kind of that link between them, and they're able to kind of support one another and help one another in the different ministries that they have. I was privileged enough to be able to go there a couple of years ago and to kind of see firsthand what was happening. As part of that trip, I saw a wheelchair distribution, which is the RICD bit, where they work with local communities, with local hospitals and local churches. They go all over Thailand and kind of work out ways of supporting those who need a wheelchair. And so we're going to kind of just share a story now of one of the people that has been a beneficiary of the receiving a new wheelchair. And so Hannah's going to play a little video about a young man called Dar, and he's going to explain the difference it makes to him.
ก็คือเขาเป็นตั้งแต่กำเนิดแล้วออกมาก็ต้องอยู่ในตู้อบเลยเนี่ยจากขวบแรกเป็นศูนย์นอนอย่างเดียวที่ก็ตอนที่รู้ว่าเป็นแบบนี้ก็คือหาหมอฝังเข็มมาตัดเส้นเอ็นหรือตอเอ็นเพราะขาจะไม่เท่ากันไงตอเส้นเอ็นเนี่ยผ่าหมดแล้วทุกอย่างทำหมดแล้วคือหมอก็บอกว่าตอนนี้ไม่ได้อยู่ที่หมออยู่ที่ตัวเขาว่าจะพัฒนาไปถึงได้ขั้นไหนโอกาสมีแล้วจะขั้นไหนก็บอกไม่ได้
ชื่อเด็กชายวัสุธรครับชื่อเล่นชื่อน้องต้า22 ปีครับได้เล่นกองชุดได้เล่นกองทอมแล้วก็ได้เล่นคีย์บอร์ดชอบเพลงลูกทุ่งเก่าๆร้นก้าวเผ่าไทยศูนย์รวมใจคนไทยทั้งชาติขออภิวาทเบื้องบาทองค์ภูมิพลอยู่บ้านดูแลย่าครับปกติย่าเขาจะไม่ไหวแล้วครับผมก็ต้องมาทำทางด้านนี้เองครับชีวิตประจำวันคือ1ตื่นเช้ามาล้างหน้าแปรงฟันแล้วพอสัก10 โมงก็กินข้าวดูโทรทัศน์ตั้งนึงแล้วก็ไปเลี้ยงวัวครับผมปั่นจักรยานทุกวันนะปั่นจักรยานตามวัวปั่นจักรยาน3 ล้อนี่แหละครับไปบางทีก็ไล่เข้าแล้วก็ช่วยเขาจับตั้งแต่เช้าก็เอาที่บ้านไปล่ามก่อนครับแล้วก็ตอนเที่ยงก็มาช่วยตอนฝุ่งนี้ออกจากคอกไปนาครับถ้าไปเขื่อนผมก็ไปตรงแค่ตรงนาครับแล้วก็พอเย็นก็ไปรอรับตรงนาครับแล้วเขาก็ไล่กลับมาครับนี่คือชีวิตประจำวันที่ผมใช้ครับรถเข็นที่ได้มาก็ชำรุดครับบางทีก็ไปยืมอนามัยผมต้องไปยืมช่วยในการใช้ชีวิตได้เยอะเลยครับช่วยเรื่องจากที่ผมต้องคานผมก็ไม่ต้องคานแบบใช้รถเข็นอยู่ในบ้านครับไปไหนมาไหนนี่เราก็ไม่ต้องลำบากครับเพราะรถที่ผมเคยใช้อยู่เมื่อกี้ก็ไม่พอดีตัว
พังหมดแล้ว
พังแล้ว
เลยวันนี้ออกมานี่แต่ว่า
ใช้ตามบัวจนชำรุดครับ
เพราะว่าน้ำหนักเขามัน
บางทีผมไม่ได้ปั่นจักรยานนะบัวอยู่ใกล้บ้านนะใช้รถเข็นนี่ตามบัวครับในสถานที่ราชการเราต้องภูมิฐานแล้วต้องแต่งตัวดีนี่เดี๋ยวผมกลับไปจากที่รับวิวแชร์นี่ผมก็ไปเลี้ยงวัวเหมือนเดิมครับ
จากนี้ก็ไปเลี้ยงวัวเหมือนเดิม
ครับเข้าอาชีพเดิมรถไม่มาดีตัวอย่างเคสที่ผมขอความช่วยเหลือเมื่อกี้นั่นนะน่าสงสารมากเลยเขาแย่มากดูแย่มากให้สู้ต่อไปครับบางคนที่ผมเห็นออกโทรทัศน์นะครับ บางทีขาขาดมั่งแขนขาดมั่งบางคนคิดอยากจะฆ่าตัวตายก็มีครับผมอยากให้เขาสู้ต่อไปครับอยากให้เขาสู้อยากให้เขามีกำลังใจต่อไปก็ดูแลสุขภาพร่างกายตัวเองให้แข็งแรงครับแล้วก็ทำการฝึกต่อไปทุกวันทุกวันก็เป็นอีกครั้งที่นั่งได้ครับ
That's just one example of the difference receiving a wheelchair makes. It kind of gives hope where there isn't any. And when I went and was at one of those distribution things that, like Dar was at, the joy on people's faces still lives with me today of what having somebody give them a wheelchair makes such a huge difference to their kind of everyday lives. And it was exciting to be able to see that. As Joey said in his first video, whenever they do a distribution, Stronger Together are there as well as the local church, and they give out Bibles and they give out the story of Johnny to kind of just help them to think a little bit more about the reason why these distributions are taking place, what motivates RICD and Stronger Together to do what they're doing. And it gives an opportunity for churches to follow up with those that have come to the various distributions. One of the things that came out of doing that is the work of Stronger Together, because they then specifically partner with churches to reach out to their local communities and help them in very practical ways, but also helping them to devise programs of how to go about finding those who are disabled in their communities and what they can do to reach them and to support them and to help them. And so we've now got a little video that will share the story of one particular church that they have been working with, so that you can see what they're able to do and the difference it makes.
Tawiporn Church was established in 1971 and is currently pastored by Pastor Wirat Satirabut. Tawiporn Church has a total of 30 members, but many were unable to attend services regularly due to work commitments in different locations. Tawiporn Church became a partner of Stronger Together in July 2023. They started their ministry for people with disabilities that same month, led by Pastor Wirat, who was just an intern at the time. At first, the church had about 6 to 8 people attending worship each week and no other activities or ministries besides worship. When the church decided to start the ministry for people with disabilities, they began reaching out to the community and visiting members who had not attended church for a long time. This ministry helped to unite the church members and increase their involvement in ministry. One of the main reasons that the pastor and his wife started the ministry for people with disabilities and have a heart for people with disabilities is because they too have a son with a disability. After Pastor Wirat finished his internship, he decided to serve at the church as the acting pastor, as he had seen the needs of this church and their heart for disability ministry. Stronger Together supports Tawiporn Church to reach out to people with disabilities, around 30 families, through financial support, to buy dignity kits as well as other mobility aids and supports. This has opened doors so that they can bring the gospel to families. By early 2024, more people were attending worship, especially people with disabilities and their families. Because of this, Stronger Together decided to help the church renovate in order to be accessible. There are now 10 to 12 people with disabilities attending worship each week, with a total of 20 to 30 members attending weekly. Currently, the church is not only known within the community among adults, but there are also many children and young people who are starting to come to learn music and participate in activities at the church. The church not only provides them with new knowledge and skills, but also fosters a strong community and hope for the future. This church has become a vibrant body of Christ that is growing and flourishing because of disability ministry. Tawipuan Church is a beautiful example of how disability ministry is helping churches to grow and thrive. We can see that this church is growing little by little with the seeds of love of Jesus Christ and hope in the hearts of the people in the community. God has used disability to open doors and bring even more people to a saving knowledge of Jesus and eternal salvation.
If you were very, very observant, you might have seen me in the video. It was really exciting for me to see this particular video. I went there when they went the first meeting that they had, or one of the first meetings they had with the church, where there were the steps up into the building and very few people could get in. And so it was brilliant to see that a year later, they had been able to kind of help the church very practically by providing access to the actual church building and to kind of the toilet facilities so that people with disability could be part of the church family. But they've also been kind of working with them as well to support them in providing wheelchairs for those that need them and providing resources to enable the church to connect in with different people. And certainly it was probably a few months ago that we had a report there that two people who with disability had been baptized. God has been at work in that small provincial town or village, really, I guess. And God was changing people's lives because they were showing God's love in a very practical way and caring for those who are most needy. So that was brilliant to see. And that could be replicated across the country where they kind of reach out. I know that Joey has said to me that they've got more churches wanting to partner with them than they've got the resources or capability of dealing with, because people are seeing the way that God can use that and help the churches to serve their local communities. So that's something that we can be praying for when we come to prayer in a little moment. But we've just got one more video to show, which is kind of Joey just wrapping things up and giving us some pointers to pray for. And then I've got a couple of other things to just share before we go to prayer.
People affected by disabilities are some of the most financially challenged groups in the entire world. And the families that we are serving are often coming from next to nothing. I have seen children maneuvering on the ground as we're visiting them to give them their wheelchair or relief package. And it's still shocking to me, after 18 years, just how little some of these families have. The way disability ministry has brought life and hope to these families, but their communities, has been really exciting to see. Stronger Together has been operating for about 4 years now. And in that time, it has not only grown and flourished, but I believe it has fundamentally changed the way that these communities are living. The way that families have been welcomed by their churches and churches by their communities is something really unique. My name is Joey Tell, and I represent and helped found the Stronger Together program. and I run the Wheelchair Project. I was asked, how do we measure success? Of course, helping families. Seeing how these church programs not only have addressed the physical needs that the families are facing, but also their emotional and spiritual needs, has been the core kernel that really makes Stronger Together so successful. In a world where people with disabilities are often ostracized, the Stronger Together church program celebrates their uniqueness and welcomes them as a loved child of God. This acceptance is not something many of these families have experienced before. So we had to decide early on where to prioritize our attention. Success isn't necessarily in the number of wheelchairs. On paper, those metrics look great, but that's not really where success is measured within our team. What we're looking for is the number of families that are becoming involved in their church, families and people who are accepting Christ. A wheelchair or a medical kit only means so much if you're loved and accepted by the people around you. What good is access and independence if you don't feel welcome in your own neighborhood? We judge success by 60 churches actively engaged in disability ministry, more than 1,000 families being ministered on a monthly basis. Last year alone, more than 6,000 families were served. That's a staggering statistic. Hundreds of individuals are hearing the gospel and accepting it. It's so exciting to see how the gospel is changing lives. The church programs that are providing such necessary care and help have fundamentally altered the way in which the people around them perceive them. Churches, by and large, have often been seen as Western ideological footholds. The West is coming in to erode what it means to be Thai or take away from their cultural identity and heritage. The disability ministry have been so effective at helping these families and bringing hope that churches are being drawn in. They're being requested to start programs by hospital workers, municipal workers, or community leaders because they have become known as a source, known actual help. The people who are coming to Christ aren't just the families being served themselves. They're the neighbors asking, why are you coming here to help this person? Disability ministry fundamentally changes our hearts. And it changes the way that we understand who God is. God is a God of love. And in disability, especially when you live in a place that is as challenged in some areas as Thailand is, you don't have much besides love. You don't have much besides community, the support of those around you. Without that kind of love and support, life is hard. And most of these families have been living in that darkness for a long time. And when they understand that they are genuine and earnest, it is groundbreaking. There has been so much that's happened just this last year alone. 26 new churches, thousands of new families, and there is so much more potential there. We have dozens of churches that would like to sign up. We have hundreds, thousands of people who need help. They need these programs, and it's through all the partnerships and the network of believers that what has happened so far is possible. And whatever is to come is all of God. And it's because we have united as a body of Christ to love and serve these families.
One of the things that we look for with every project that we support, and particularly when we give financial support to a project, is to have a medical element to it, but also to have a desire to make Jesus known through it, either through reaching out with the gospel or building up the church. And I think RICD Stronger Together is one of the clearest examples of that coming together, where God is using people who are wanting to serve those most needy in their community with the love of God. And serving them and having the opportunity of sharing with them the good news. And so it's been exciting that we've been able to partner with these people for probably, I think it's about 10 years now we've been connected with them. And to see the way that God has grown and developing the work is really exciting. And I hope you've kind of seen a little bit of that, got a taste of what that is like. I don't know whether anybody's got any questions about anything that they've seen. I will do my best to answer them. But before I share a couple of things that we can be praying for. So if you've got a question, please unmute yourself and ask away.
Grave, are some of the conditions beyond, I don't mean beyond wheelchairs, but my work in education reminds me of this. Some of these youngsters particularly looked like it was cerebral palsy or something. Are these some of the actual conditions that they have?
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole range of conditions that they deal with. So yes, some will have cerebral palsy. Others will have had accidents of some shape or form, which has caused them to lose their mobility. And it could be, and as you will have seen, that it's children and adults they kind to reach out. It's whoever needs support. The focus is on wheelchairs, but there is they do other mobility aids if that's a better fit for the person that's needed it. The distributions themselves are literally just kind of providing that mobility aid. The bit where you kind of work with the families comes through the work of Stronger Together in the churches. And so one of the ways that they do that is by giving people training in kind of basic physio type work so that, family members can care for the disabled member of their family in a better way so that they can fulfill their potential. So that they can be valued in their community, in their home even. So they are kind of doing that alongside that. That comes through kind of the church side of things. The actual distributions are pretty much focused about supplying the mobility aids and particularly wheelchairs.
Thank you.
Rev, it looks like, he said that they tailor the chairs or they fit them to each individual, which is really good to hear. Do they have OTs and physios as part of their staff to help them do that?
No. So what they have got is the people that are permanently will have all been trained through one of the training courses is run. So a lot of their wheelchairs are provided by Free Wheelchair Mission and through Johnny. And so they run training programs on how to fit wheelchair, how to modify wheelchairs for particular cases, what, things to look for, what you need to consider when you're kind of setting a wheelchair up. So that's all done through that process. When you're doing the wheelchair distributions, then obviously a local hospital is involved. So there will be medical staff involved when they kind of get the crowd together. And so they're working in partnership with a lot of different people. With our ICD, interesting enough, a lot of it is supported by volunteers. So they've got a big connection with student bodies in Germany. And so they get a number of students across each year, come for a year. They'll get some training at the beginning of their year before going out and supporting them. But there are a number of people who are there permanently who obviously provide the real expertise.
Very good.
Right, there's just a couple of things. We're going to pray now. Hopefully, you've picked up some things that were mentioned in some of the videos, some of the situations, some of the people or the churches. Um, Margaret's put some of the prayer requests into the chat if you want to access that before we go into a group. But Joey did mention one thing to us just last week, something that is really concerning them. So as I said, they do distributions all across Thailand, and obviously to get all the equipment and all the wheelchairs and everything there, they drive an awful lot of miles. So they've had a second-hand van there for about 6 years, and in 6 years they've done over 250,000 kilometers in that one van. Last week they found out that van has broken down and it's now kind of beyond repair, or certainly for the long journeys that they're doing. They knew that it was kind of coming to the end of its life, and so they've been trying to save a little bit and put some money aside to replace it. But obviously they need to replace it sooner than they thought they would. And so they're really kind of praying that God will provide the funding that they need to be able to buy a new van so that they can carry on doing the distributions that they've got planned. So that was something they specifically asked us to pray for. So I think that's in one of the points in the chat. So if you can remember that one, that would be fantastic. So we're going to split you off into a group now. It'd be great to be able to pray for what God's doing in Thailand. I think we're going to do it for 10 minutes. Please, obviously, just keep your prayers short to one point, the opportunity to let everybody who wants to pray. If you're uncomfortable praying out loud, then please just pray quietly in the group. That would be fantastic.